Discus tank with no discus. It actually not just cleans the glass, but leaves a micro layer to help repel water and make future cleaning much easier, like a fine layer of polish, if you like. So this is really great, non-toxic, highly recommended. Hi everyone, George here. This is Betty. This is our latest addition to the family. Some of you will have seen her already. And this is Tommy. Tommy's 3 and Betty is about 5 months old. Welcome to this video. This is an update video of all of the aquascapes in the gallery and a little bit of a different video. I just wanted to have a general conversation with you all. And let's start off with the Highline 300. I have actually recorded a full comprehensive update video on this tank, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. No need to go into too much detail, but just a very quick overview. Home to the Chindongo Salusi, the African cichlids from Lake Malawi. I've had these for about 3 years now. It's just a real pleasure to live with this aquarium and this aquascape. I really love the fish. They're so playful, characterful. They're always hungry, they're always ready to be fed. They just add real life to the living space. And I love the way they encroach more into the living space around it. So, you know, I can actually sit here, I often sit here on an evening and just, you know, relax with the cushions, and you can feed the fish and then you can just watch them go about their business. It's very, very relaxing, very therapeutic. And no need for plants in here. I have kept Anubias before, but the fish basically nibble it and destroy it over the longer term, so just gone for hardscape only in here. And one of the tricks that I do to keep algae under control is just to flip the rocks every couple of months or so. Once the algae's built up, you just flip the rock over and then underneath it's completely clean. Let the algae build up and then flip it again. So that's a top tip for you. So I've just loved the way the aquascape is viewable from 3 sides. Come round. What's your favourite side? Let us know in the comments. A lot of folk are enjoying the end-on view. I really like the way you could view it from this angle, and it is a separate aquascape, just obviously very, very deep front to back. Look at the fish, they're all thinking they're going to be fed. And then of course you can view it from this angle here. Let's feed the fish. So this is a great view, isn't it? And you can see the fish obviously going crazy for the food. Moving over to, this is my desk. This is where I do some of my work. I don't really like sitting at a desk. I don't actually sit here very much. I've got a MacBook which I often work when I'm on the road or in the other room. But yeah, I'm not really a big fan of sitting at a desk for any length of time. Don't know about you guys. But this is looking very nice now, coming on great. This is the Awaze Scapoline 60. Again, there is a complete video dedicated to this aquascape, which I'll leave a link to in the description again and in the pinned comment. Some significant changes since that initial video. I did have some struggling plants, in particular the Ludwigia inclinata cuba. I don't think it likes my hard water. And also the Prosopernica palustris was struggling too. But I'll go through each species, shall I? Because there are some new and interesting ones in here that some of you may not have seen before. But we are getting some algae. I'm not going to, you know, pretend that there's no issues in here. We do have some algae, so just bear with me on that. That is Lobelia cardinalis mini. So this is an interesting plant. This is going to be a new plant from Tropica. And then underneath that we have the Hygrophila lancea araguayi. That's the kind of reddish kind of tip leaf there. That's going to grow quite compact and stay quite low to the soil, hopefully. With some regular trimming, that will stay very compact. In front of that, this is very interesting. This is actually Eriocaulon Vietnam. So this could actually get a little bit too tall for the foreground, but I'm just interested to grow it. I've never actually grown it properly before, so that's really cool. And I am going to consider another foreground species, you know, to fill up the very foreground here. So let me know in the comments. I'm thinking either mini hairgrass for like a vertical spiky texture, or a round texture with something like Elatine hydropiper, or maybe Marcellea crenata, or maybe even Glossostigma or Hemianthus cuba. Let me know in the comments what would you put in the foreground here. Moving over here now, we've got the Bolixia japonica. This is just an absolute weed. This will need trimming soon. Got some Anubias petite here and here. This is interesting. This is Hydrocotyl tripartita mini. So this is a very interesting plant. This is actually from Denelay plants. This is a Ludwigia species. I forget which actual which species. I think it's Rubin. Repens Rubin maybe. Again, let me know in the comments. Some Ricardia there, you can just see in the centre. Some more Hydrocotyl, and then in the background the big bushes to the left and to the right. Sounds like a Beyonce song. To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right. That is Hemianthus micranthomoides, which is commonly known as pearlweed, and an absolute brute, very much a weed. And there's Tommy barking in the background, I don't know if you can hear that. But yeah, great plant for new setups, for growing fast, helping to help avoid early algae issues. I have been suffering with significant algae in here, staghorn algae, but with large frequent water changes, it's died right back. I'm not a very big fan of using liquid carbon products, so don't tend to use chemicals if I can help it. We've got some kind of foam building up here. This is interesting, isn't it? I'm not sure where this has come from. It's collecting around the protruding wood there. We are injecting CO2. Let's get a close-up of that for you. And this is the Aqua Rio, the smallest diffuser that they do. It's very cute, isn't it? I love the way it's very discreet. No suction pads or anything. So that is getting circulated around the whole aquascape very nicely. Got quite good levels of circulation here with the Awase Biomaster 600 Thermo. We'll look in the cabinet in a minute, shall we? Other plants, we've talked about all the plants, I think that's it. Yeah, hardscape wise, this is donated to me by Aquarium Gardens, I think, all of the hardscape here. So shout out to Dave at Aquarium Gardens. Oh no, maybe this rock here. This is actually Geo Rock. This is actually from my friends at Horizon Aquatics. And then this is Sirius Stone. So this is from Dave at Aquarium Gardens, and this is from Horizon Aquatics. So shout out to those guys. And what else do we have in here? The wood, I think this is just like a general river wood, and that was from Aquarium Gardens. Got the light ground there in the background, like the LED back panel there. ADA do a version as well called Light Screen. This one's from Light Ground. But the aquascape it's really nice, nothing too fancy. It's just my kind of wheelhouse type of aquascape. Strong hardscape, strong foreground, mid-ground, background composition. Focal point off by about rule of thirds, so nothing too groundbreaking there, but it's something really nice to live with, and obviously very colourful, high impact, the red, green, blue coloration. At the moment, no fish, and I am kind of reluctant to add fish in here. I'm injecting quite a lot of CO2, and I am going to be creating frequent new layouts in here. So the idea is every 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks or so, the intention at the moment is to create a new aquascape, grow it in, photograph it, video it, do a new one. For that reason, I don't think it's really fair to stock fish in here and keep rehoming them, etc. So the idea is I've just got some cherry shrimp in here. It doesn't say cherry shrimp, which will breed, and they're breeding already, in fact, and they just help to keep algae and help keep things a little bit clean. But no need to add any fish food, I don't feed the cherry shrimp, they just eat the biofilm and the algae. Like I say, help keep things clean, and no need for fish. But, let me know, what fish would you put in here? Let's have a look in the cabinet, shall we? So, Awase Biomaster 600 Thermo, no need to talk about that. Fantastic regulator from Greenleaf Aquarium, going in at about 3 bubbles a second there. which is quite a lot of CO2, but because there's no fish in there and the shrimp are able to deal with that relatively high level of CO2, that's no problem. They're breeding. So I've got to say, this is one of my favourite Fritz products. It actually not just cleans the glass, but leaves a micro layer to help repel water and make future cleaning much easier, like a fine layer of polish, if you like. So this is really great, non-toxic, highly recommended. That's the rough outline of the equipment. Awase Escaper Line 60 aquarium, Biomaster filtration, pressurized CO2. Oh, the lighting. This is Chihiros, the WRGB2 Pro, I believe, running at 100%, but only for 4 hours a day. So it is a lot of light, and that is why I'm limiting to 4 hours, and it's plenty enough to grow the plants, as you can see. Let's move on over to this little beauty, shall we? This is my Tropica Aqua Cube. At the moment, it's just a dryscape. Not even decided what I'm going to do with it in the long term. But a very interesting story about this was actually given to me by Holger Windelov, who is the founder of Tropica. And he came completely boxed, brand new, at Tropica and gave it to me. And I was actually almost moved to tears because Holger Windelov is a huge... I'm a huge fan of his. He's an absolute legend in the hobby. He's the founder of Tropica, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without him, so very grateful for that. Okay, moving on to my Awase Highline 400. Many of you will recognise this aquarium. It used to have Discus in here, didn't it? So I was going to record a completely different video to this, but I'm just going to shoot from the hip and in a conversational style explain the whole situation. So I kept Discus in here for over a year, and I recorded their progress, and for those that watch those videos you'll know that I succeeded at keeping them in a planted aquarium. I was using CO2 injection, going quite a kind of high-tech route, but unfortunately the Discus weren't thriving. Although they were eating and spawning and relatively active, they were getting very dark, and a couple of them were showing signs of sickness. So fast forward to the point where I decided to go bare bottom. I did hardscape only, and then I did white gravel, and then I did bare bottom, and it got to the point where, although the fish were healthy and thriving, I wasn't enjoying living with them. And I was travelling more with travel restrictions being lifted. I was travelling more to the States and to other countries around Europe, and I couldn't give the fish what they needed. So I decided to reach out to my supplier, and using his network we found an appropriate Discus keeper to rehome them. I'm very pleased to say that they're thriving, they're super healthy, and they're doing very well. But it doesn't stop me from feeling a bit sad that I couldn't give them what they needed. And you know, these are living creatures that we take into our care, and we have a responsibility to do our best for them, and I couldn't do that. So the next best thing is to give them to someone that could. So that's the story, that's what happened, and I'm now, as you can see, back into the nature aquarium zone. You can see the aquascape has grown in, and it's been growing in for the last couple of months or so. Literally using all recycled plants. None of these plants are new specimens. These are all either donations or offcuts. In fact, the only plant that I did buy separately was the bulbitis. I do have significant BBA in here, which I'll show you in another video. I will do a completely comprehensive update video of this aquascape. I do intend to make some changes. I will do some close-ups of the plants, and we can talk about the fish. There's actually only 6 or 7 lemon tetras in here at the moment. They're just in there really to keep the filtration cycled. There's 100 or so mono shrimp though, but I am looking for ideas for final display fish. The original idea was actually to make this into a contest tank, but I just don't think it's appropriate. With the black background, it's not opti-white glass, it's not rimless. I'm just going to keep it as a home aquarium, a home aquascape for me to enjoy over the months. It's going to be a long-term aquascape that I'll evolve. Maybe I'll rescape it now and again, but no pressure on this one. I'm not creating anything for anyone or any clients or any specific purpose. And I think there's a joy in that, you know, joy of freedom to do what you like with the hobby. And that's something that I've realised, keeping aquascapes at home is a balance between, you know, creating content for other people but also enjoying the hobby for yourself. So this aquarium is definitely the latter. It's here for me, and if I can help share that with other people as a happy side effect, then so be it. But I'm really happy to live with this large aquascape and enjoy it in the longer term. So yeah, a kind of a bittersweet story really regarding the Discus. Let me know what you think. I'm prepared for a lot of criticism, and you know, maybe I deserve it. Maybe I kind of knew that they may not have been a completely long-term fish. You know, I kind of knew deep down that I'll probably be travelling again soon, and maybe I was a bit impulsive getting them to start with. But I'm happy to share that story with you, and maybe some of you guys can learn something from that yourselves as well.